This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Coming up, thanks to the Super Bowl, we've got some highly anticipated trailers to take a look at.
The Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad
The Super Bowl was a couple weeks ago, and as has been happening annually, I think back to Independence Day. That was my first big Super Bowl trailer for me.
Yeah.
But the Super Bowl airs huge movie trailers, and then after the Super Bowl, we had a couple come online as well that we're going to talk about. So we'll start with the Super Bowl spots, and we'll talk about Avengers first. So we got a much bigger glimpse of the Avengers. The trailer ends on an iconic shot of the team, camera circling around them in New York City.
That's the shot. That's the shot.
Yeah.
Make that shot 2 hours long. I will pay to see that. Just that shot circling the Avengers. I would pay real human dollars just for 2 hours circling the Avengers. It's so awesome. And I have to say, I love the fact that this trailer doesn't show a lot. It's all I need. Tease me. I don't need to see broad plot strokes. Don't show me that. Just give me some Avengers. Show me that they're all there and they're fighting stuff and there's going to be an explosion and you have my money. Don't need to spoil anything. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm satiated. Let it happen. Bring on the release date and just show me the circling. It's the circle.
It starts
of
with that and it ends with that whole movie, because they know who they're shooting. There's some in the middle too.
So great.
Yeah, I think Joss Whedon got Jeff's emails and said,
I certainly sent enough of them.
Said, you don't need to give us an extended teaser trailer. You don't need to tell us who's the main bad guy. I mean, even though we know some of this information, but who's the main bad guy? What's the main plot twist? Show me the scene where they win and everybody high fives, and you know what I mean? Like those pieces of information that really can spoil movies, and that for the most part studios put out. This doesn't feel like that's
a very common trailer to me, but
there's no like main
I didn't mean
plot
common,
points.
A very plebeian trailer.
No, but I mean like
They meant like with common in it.
Yeah, you didn't mean
common as
like as in like a
Chutney.
normal trailer or like a
Yeah,
usual
I
trailer.
did mean it that
Got
way.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it isn't, because if you really start breaking it down, you go, well, what did I learn about this movie?
I feel like
Nothing
as much as the other
except.
trailers that we've seen, but yeah.
Yes, and I think Superman or Spider-Man is a great example. Spider-Man,
Yeah.
you see plot
Too
points
much.
of the movie.
Too much, I
In
says.
Avengers, it's just
I don't know.
quip, punch, explosion, but more of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. I mean, you kind of know what happens, but with Spider-Man, it's like, here are plot points.
Yeah.
Here are moments where somebody says, this is what
Yeah.
I'm going to do, and you do things to forward the plot in
Exactly.
the trailer.
Interesting.
I created him. Well,
Yeah.
now you know you
know
created
what happened.
him.
Interestingly, I didn't like this trailer as much as the previous one.
I did want to say,
Yeah.
I also didn't like this trailer. No, I got taken
You
aback.
stabbed me
I got
in the
taken
back,
aback.
Alex.
No. I got taken aback. It definitely does the things that Jeff wanted it to
stepping
do.
all over me, oh.
It's- excuse me, let me just wipe off.
Oh man, me and Alex are on the same team. We're like a couple of Avengers. What?
But I actually didn't like this trailer as much as the other trailers, because I think that's what they were trying to do, was give us a long teaser trailer, and I didn't care for it. I was sort of like,
Damn you,
but
Alex.
I do want to
Damn
see this
you.
movie.
Well, the previous.
So I forgot to put that little part
The
in. I don't
previous
really like
theatrical
the
trailer had some really fun
Quip
Joss
moments.
Whedon,
Yeah.
the team relating to each other stuff that in their iteration, this trailer didn't play as well for me.
Well, they
So,
didn't really have him in this trailer.
There was one little thing between
We still have
Iron Man.
we have an army. We have the Hulk. That's fine. Come on.
So, moving on, also that aired during the Super Bowl is the first real look, an actual extended trailer for The Hunger Games. So Alex has just read the books.
Well, I'm like,
read the first book.
I'm like sliver
We've read the
from
books.
the end of the first book, and
I
to
read
be
the first
fair,
two.
I almost didn't watch this trailer for this segment because I was worried it was going to do, like, one frame of that movie was going to spoil something in the ending of this book, because I'm just at the end of the book.
Yeah.
That said, I don't. This is the first time I get to see anything. We've seen pictures of Katniss, we've seen pictures of Peeta, we've seen the teaser trailer stuff, but this is the first time I've seen any of that stuff with the knowledge of the characters and the book.
Yeah.
So all that previous stuff, I just went, yeah, it was cool. It's a girl with a bow and arrow.
So
This
what do you
looks
think
good.
of how the movie looks?
You know, I think it's still a question. I think there's a mix of good and bad. There's some stuff where I'm like, wow, that looks badass. You know, the firewall, and I'm like, oh god, I remember that moment. Shit, this is gonna happen. And then there's some other things like I think they really kind of played up the sort of comical costume and makeup of the thing. Whereas when I read of the sort of the people, the capital city people, where when I read it, I sort of saw that it may look comical to somebody who didn't know anything about makeup and the way that people would dress, but I didn't actually look at it as sort of like over-the-top foppish sci-fi craziness, which is where I think they're kind of going with some of the characters, like with the
opposite.
No, with the what's the guy who Stanley Tucci's character, where clearly he's wearing a wig and it's a weird color wig. I was like, but the one thing I will say that from this was that when I started reading. Now that I know the characters and I started reading the IMDb information of who's playing what characters, and I remember it was very polarizing, I have to say, Elizabeth Banks, I did not think that was going to work at all. I was like, nah.
Really? It felt
seeing
spot
her
on for me.
No, seeing her in the trailer, spot on.
Yeah.
But as I was reading it, I thought her more older, sort of like an over-the-top sort of Carol Burnett type thing.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe even like a Maggie
Smith.
Smith. A younger Maggie Smith kind of character.
Right.
But anyway,
Maggie Grace from Lost, really?
Yeah, I actually said that once. So I was so mixed, but
Yeah, I didn't really like the books, and I couldn't
Trail doesn't do much for you?
I have no. If we weren't
Battle
obviously gonna
Royale
review
with
it, I
cheese
wouldn't
is what
watch
you're
it.
saying.
Yeah, I'd go watch Battle Royale. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
This is not.
Really? You like Battle Royale that much?
I did. I really did.
I haven't seen it yet.
I like Battle Royale. Did not love it. I mean, I'm sort of mixed. In some ways, this doesn't look as stylish as I would have thought. Like, that's why I was shocked to hear you say that comment, because the world feels very subdued, which I think I like. I like how subtle it is, and there's a grit to it. It's grounded. It's not like the opening shot of Blade Runner, Capital City, like crazy, or Hogwarts. You know, it's
Crazy.
not like, it's very like, it's just a little bit, so I guess my thing is, and all the action stuff later, like it plays that way for me, where it feels very subdued and very, I like that it's real locations.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it's on a soundstage, and it's not totally over the top visual effects.
It's not episode 1,
Right.
With like places that look like you couldn't ever go,
right,
or Thor.
and the environment, the jungle environment, doesn't look like Pandora from Avatar,
Right,
But I did love Avatar, and I love Pandora,
Pandora stuff though.
and
Of course.
what's that?
I mean, Pandora-y stuff.
Right, but I'm just saying.
yeah.
I'm saying the look, how they're implementing, how they're executing on all that stuff so far, isn't totally. So I think it could go either way for me. What I'm saying is like, that could be cool, or it could feel a little bit like too tame, or not too tame, but a little too. It might
Tame?
not arrest me. I don't know.
Interesting.
Speaking of arrested,
Speaking of arrested, what are we?
Bourne.
He gets arrested.
Yeah.
He gets arrested.
So
Does he?
at the Super Bowl, we had the premiere of 2 very big trailers. One for the Bourne Legacy. This tells the story of another agent in the same function of the government that Matt Damon's Jason Bourne was
Treadstone
in. I'm not sure if it's Treadstone. That's
Well,
why
but
I
that's-
don't
it
wanna
doesn't-
say
Here's the thing. Really, really cool concept with this movie. It takes place concurrently, or at least the first half takes place
Right.
concurrently with the third Bourne movie. So it's what's happening off screen when we saw Matt Damon's character, Jason Bourne, doing some stuff. There's this other guy also doing some stuff, and then it continues after the end of the. So it doesn't supersede another Matt Damon Bourne movie.
Right.
Right.
It provides context for a potential fourth Jason Bourne film.
Together again.
Which is a genius idea, I think, and I'm super excited based on that. None of that obviously conveyed in this trailer, but it's a very cool stylistic trailer.
They kind
Very
of did,
cool trailer,
and they
dude.
kind of
Very
did because
cool
they
trailer.
said something about, well, Bourne is out there, and this is a guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but
And he
if
seems
you don't
like-
know that about the movie, you don't get that from the trailer.
And he seems like Bourne plus even more badass.
Yeah.
He seems like
because
Bourne
it's-
without the conscience a little, which is kind of cool.
It seems like, Bourne wakes up, didn't know who he is or what he's capable of. This seems like it's a guy who's totally.
yeah, doing his job.
Doing his
And his
job.
job is kill
Right.
people and make awesomeness happen.
It's directed by Tony Gilroy, the guy who wrote the other Bourne movies, many other awesome movies, and directed Michael Clayton and Duplicity. And what we all loved about Michael Clayton and seems to implement here. I mean, and I love that it's not still the Paul Greengrass aesthetic. I like that being what he did. I wonder how the action will play this way. What I always loved, he also wrote State of Play, even though he didn't direct it. What's so great about State of Play and Michael Clayton is that it's very classically shot, yet still, because the moments are so authentic and so true, it's still so realistic. And I think Casino Royale did that in an action movie very well. So I hope that we'll get a new visual take on this world that still has that grit.
It looks great, and I will say,
to
I've
it.
totally turned a corner. I mean, I never really was anti-Jeremy Renner, but especially from seeing Mission Impossible 4, where I really enjoyed Jeremy Renner, seeing this trailer, I was like, I am freaking all in on Jeremy Renner, man. This is going to be, I think it's going to be really fun. And I love the idea that it is concurrent, that the story is happening, that it's not just, well, Matt Damon doesn't want to do another Bourne movie right now, but we really want to make one because it would make money. Well, we'll just have this guy play Bourne. Yeah. Which has happened, Some of All Fears. I mean, that does happen in things like this, and could have happened here.
Sure.
The fact that they went, well, let's just write a story that's like happening at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Genius
I think it
idea.
expands the universe, which is
and
really
it gives
exciting.
you the option to kind of go, if Matt Damon goes, I'm done with those things, you can continue this Bourne Legacy.
But speaking of actors taking over roles that they didn't
Exactamundo.
originally.
You should be sitting right here, my friend.
Started with the
wish
director.
I was.
Started with the
that
director
seat.
and trickled down.
The Amazing Spider-Man trailer came out. What did you think of that, folks?
As we referenced earlier, I think it shows more than I want to see. I was like, I want to turn off this trailer. I don't want to watch any of this, but I'm really encouraged. I mean, I think Andrew Garfield was the right choice. I am very encouraged by the physicality that we see from Spider-Man, which is I think, how I always imagined him. I love the fact that we're hearing more quips, which is very much.
I agree with that.
Quips go along with the thwips. You know,
Right.
in order to have your thwips, you got to have your quips. And
He really does have that the voice. He's not a Peter Parker in the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
Peter Parker separate, Spider-Man separate. It's Peter Parker in that Spider-Man suit, which is that's what makes that character. That was made in the most accessible superhero, and
Really, the only worry I have about this entire film is the lizard, and I don't think anything in the trailer has
Quelled
assuaged
that.
that fear. But
I'm trying to remember. Did they show him?
They did, but it was quick.
claw,
But it
not
might have
much
been-
to him. Eye,
Have you
not
Have
much.
you seen the image of him?
Yeah, I
You
wasn't
don't
thrilled.
like? I think it's a really
It's cool.
cool.
My biggest overall concern is I'm kind of done with Spider-Man. I kind of feel like with all
dead
of
to
the
me.
new,
You're dead to
but
me.
I mean, it's like with all of the other available people. I mean, like now we're seeing the Avengers, where we're gonna get like Hawkeye and all these like random characters. You know what I mean? I feel like
It'd be awesome to see Spider-Man.
Dude,
in that.
give us
we're,
some
we're,
other
we're
ones.
about to embark on a year where we're getting an Avengers film, an Amazing Spider-Man film, and a Dark Knight film, all in the same year. It's like the greatest.
Comic
I mean,
book
a lot
year
of people
ever.
are done with comic book movies, but it is the greatest.
Well, but
comic
I'm not
book
done with
year,
comic book movies, but I feel
quality-wise.
like I'm sort of saturated with the Spider-Man. The sort of difference, for me, it was sort of like, oh, it's another, there was a little bit of me going, oh, it's another guy who's doing Spider-Man. Like, I know the story, I know these vibes, I know, it's not the other guy who's playing the doctor who becomes a lizard, it's now this guy, you know what I mean? So there was a little bit of just sort of like, I mean, I'm gonna see it and it'll probably blow my mind, because the other thing is the fight, the little bit of fight sequence stuff that we saw was very much more gritty, grungy fighting than it was the sort of like acrobatic,
It's great.
twirly fighting.
And I
of
love the
Sam Raimi's.
highlight on the mechanical web shooters, which is like they're like showing that to the fans.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Look, mechanical web
We
shooters.
did it. We did
everybody.
it. Yeah.
When we were at Comic-Con, we saw a trailer and some footage, and I remember the trailer not doing anything for me, but the footage really impressing me.
Yeah.
And similarly, this trailer did very little for me. It did very little for me. But a friend of ours saw footage from it and was telling me about it, and said he felt the same way. And the footage was amazing. Because they had a night.
The preview night or
a preview
whatever.
night. So I think what's interesting to me is that I wonder if it's a real check mark in the plus column for this. That the trailer, there's no trailer moments.
Yeah, it's more of a
there's-
character piece.
It's more like this is just going to be a good
Yeah,
movie.
that's great.
I hope that's true. It
Yeah.
seems like that would be the case if these trailers aren't doing it for me, but the footage is, So yeah, I don't know. Once again, wasn't arrested by it, but I'm still stoked for the movie.
Four
and,
solid
yeah.
movies. I think all four of these movies are going to be really
I'm excited.
fun,
I think
solid
this is going to
movies.
be a much better year for films than 2011 was.
Cool.
I mean, for big
Fingers crossed.
action
We got
set
some really
pieces.
good big
I mean, I'm
action
not
movies.
excited for
G.I.
Hunger
Joe- or
Games.
not
I'm
G.I.
not
Joe.
excited for Hunger Games. It's gonna, as far as I'm concerned, but everything else. Let's
Yeah.
rock it out, right? Exactly.
Damn. All right, everybody, stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Squarespace.com. Come on, Squarespace is the fast, easy way to create a high-quality blog portfolio or website. Did you just turn your mic on?
No, it was
Okay.
on.
It's fully hosted and takes care of all the tricky details of getting your site online. There's nothing to download, nothing to install, nothing to set up. Squarespace comes with a variety of page types from blogs to galleries to contact forms, which you can just snap together in any configuration you want and build the site that you desire. Squarespace also comes with great social integration. People, we all love social integration.
It
like
works kinda
Twitter,
like-
Flickr widgets built right into the system.
just motor
Mowed
on.
right through it. And it has a beautiful slideshows that you can
care
add to
about
any
my
page
jokes.
on your site.
Like what, Jeff? Like
What was the joke?
I was gonna say non-specific construction blocks,
Ah.
so as not to create a trademark infringement.
Right.
Very good.
The shinning.
iPhone, iPad, Android apps allow you to create and edit your blogs directly on your site, manage your comments, view statistics, 24-hour support, super fast response, and 13 template redesigns, 85 new styles, 2 brand new templates out of the gate. That's awesome. 300 plus fonts added, which is actually quite.
Comic Sans serif.
It's very important to have those fonts
I hope
because
they
you
have
want them.
Comic Sans.
There's a new CSS editor for those of you who like to get in there and code. They recently launched live online workshops to help people get started on Squarespace.com for 50% off your next 15. That's what I said, but it just sounded weird. 15% off the next 6 months. Enter the coupon code TRS2 and get your sites set up. Some semi-professionally, some professionally.
Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
Longtime viewers, thanks for watching.
Join us tomorrow for our review of the game Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Today's Twitter question was sent in by @the_guy86, also known as Ishmael Tejada, I think.
Sure.
Spelled, probably got that wrong. He asks, did you ever do anything as a kid that got you really in trouble? And he adds the anecdote that he almost burned down his kitchen by lighting a calendar on fire.
Well,
Why
good
would you light a
choice.
calendar on fire unless you wanted to really heat up the week? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but there's something to kids and, you know, like you get that fire thing where you don't really think of the ramifications of it. You just like go, hey, fire's cool. I got some matches.
Mine was the time I got the most trouble ever. I was really young, and I think I was like 6. I think my mom may have told the story on our Mother's Day episode way long ago. But I cut my sister's hair,
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I remember that.
and it was the most
Stylish.
the worst thing. I was like 6 and she was 4 or something like that. And
yeah.
she'd just gotten hair long enough to be a girl, and I cut it like so short that people thought she was a boy for a long time, and
Wow.
it freaked my mom out. And
Did she love it though? She's like, I love it.
well, she asked me to do it, which is
Right.
what I told my mom. I was like, she asked me to do it. Why was I supposed to say no?
Yeah.
And then I remember I went into the bathroom and I got the hair and I was like, just put it back on. My mom's like, you're an idiot.
Oh,
She took
man.
off her flip flop and was like,
Chasing you around.
Chasing around. I ironically, similar to Ismail, I was obsessed with. I got Zippo lighters and lighter fluid, and we would
Calendars.
We would make like Molotov cocktails. We would like write things like the Crow in lighter fluid and light them on fire. And
Wow.
but my parents found my Zippo lighter and my lighter fluid in a sock drawer, and they
Damn,
were like,
GC.
"You could have
Pyro
started."
pocket.
turbocharged it
Yeah,
up. What about you?
TC. Mine also includes fire. I, for whatever reason, thought that me and my buddy thought that it would be great to try to light a tree on fire. So we started. I mean, the good news is with fire, for the most part, fire's hard to make. Like, have you tried to make a fire in your fireplace? It's not that easy, especially when you're in sort of like a wettish area. You know what I mean? So
Which is
thankfully
where
we
your
didn't.
fireplace would be.
Yeah. So thankfully we didn't do very well with starting to light the tree on fire. But the neighbors whose tree it was saw us and decided that was not a good thing. So we got in trouble. For
What
it.
are you kids doing with a fire on the tree?
We're just trying to light a tree on fire. Go back to your shenasta.
Thank you for sending your Twitter question in.